Here's the real story behind the tragic death of XXXTentacion. Facts everyone should know. Let's take it back to June 18th, 2018. Jahseh Onfroy, better known as XXXTentacion, started his day by hopping into his fully blacked-out BMW i8. He drove straight to Bank of America, planning to withdraw $50,000 in cash for a motorcycle he intended to buy later that day. After making the withdrawal, he tucked the cash into a Louis Vuitton pullover bag and left the bank. But what X didn't realize was that he had already caught the attention of four men. They noticed his signature black BMW and immediately recognized him. X wasn't someone who blended into a crowd. His presence was loud, unmistakable. Those men were later identified as Dedrick Williams, Robert Allen, Michael Boatwright, and Trayvon Newsom, and they began tailing X from that moment on. After the bank, X headed to Riva Motorsports to meet up with his uncle and check out the bike he was planning to buy. As he waited in the parking lot, sitting inside his car, the four men continued to watch him. Two of them left briefly to visit a nearby convenience store, where they purchased ski masks and gloves, unaware that the store had security cameras recording their every move. Once inside Riva Motorsports, X and his uncle browsed motorcycles. But the suspects didn't stay behind. Two of them actually followed him inside the store. Surveillance footage later showed the men entering just moments after X. One chilling frame even caught X making eye contact with one of them. A haunting image in hindsight. Their goal inside, to get a closer look at that Louis Vuitton bag. They wanted to see if he'd open it, if he'd flash any cash, or give any indication of how much money was inside. But according to reports, X never opened the bag. After about an hour, X left the store, still carrying the bag filled with $50,000. He got into his BMW and sat for a while before trying to leave the one-way parking lot. That's when a dark-colored SUV suddenly pulled up and blocked his exit. Trapped, X put the car in park, probably confused and trying to figure out what was happening. Two masked men jumped out of the SUV, both armed, one approaching each side of his car. They demanded he roll down his windows and hand over the bag of cash. X refused. What followed was a brief struggle, a fight for control, for survival. But in that moment, one of the attackers opened fire, and just like that, XXXTentacion was shot. The men grabbed the Louis Vuitton bag, ran back to their vehicle, and sped off. Within minutes, emergency services were on the scene, but it was too late. Jahseh Onfroy was pronounced dead at the hospital shortly after. He was only 20 years old. It all started on the street, and sadly, we all know what happened after that. These four men targeted XXXTentacion over an alleged $50,000 in cash inside a Louis Vuitton duffel bag. Witnesses at the scene claimed the men actually did get away with the bag. But the real question is, was it worth it? It's heartbreaking to think that if X had just given up the bag, things might have turned out differently. Instead, he tried to defend himself while sitting inside his car, with two of the men approaching him. What they didn't know was that every stop X made that day had security cameras, including the convenience store, where two of the suspects were caught on camera with no masks, their faces clearly visible. One of the biggest questions people had was, why didn't X have security with him that day? The answer lies in X's own words. He often said he didn't like to move around with security unless it was for concerts or big events. He believed in moving alone or with close friends, feeling he didn't need protection beyond that. Law enforcement acted quickly. It took just 1 month to track down and arrest all four men. Dedrick Williams was the first to be caught. He was charged with first-degree murder and denied bail after pleading not guilty, despite clear footage of him following X's car for hours before the shooting. The bank the corner store where they bought ski masks, and Riva Motorsports, all had security footage that helped identify them. Michael Boatwright was also arrested and charged, though he hasn't yet entered a plea. Then there was Robert Allen, who was found hiding out at his sister's house in rural Georgia. He was booked in Dodge County and is currently being held without bond. Lastly, Trayvon Newsom was arrested and charged just like the others. Since then, the trial has dragged on, partly due to legal tactics used by their defense teams. In a recent update, one of the suspects even requested $10,000 from the court to help prove his innocence. In the end, these four men made a decision that took the life of a talented young artist, all for an estimated $50,000. Whether that exact amount was ever in the bag, we may never know. But what we do know is that a life was lost, and the world is still mourning. Rest in peace, XXXTentacion. I'm out. Peace.